I believe strongly when you have shortcomings in your persona, in your stature, in your life, in your education, it could be automatically also your strength. Because the shortcomings make you search a little bit more harder, a little bit more deeper in your brain what you could actually do with it.
Welcome to Keep On Pushing Stories. You know what we do here, right? We share real life stories of persistence, perseverance, determination. We definitely like to do a deep dive into the minds of people who have figured out how to push past their obstacles, who don't allow limits to put limits on them and step out of their comfort zone. And today I'm really excited to welcome Volker Jaeckel, Coach VJ, to the show. Volker.
Thank you for having me.
VJ,
Thank you for
welcome.
having me.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I gather you're in California, enjoying the nice California weather there, huh?
I'm even, as a German, I'm ready to have some cold weather because I feel like, I'm in an aquarium or so. It's always warm. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I know people find it strange for me as well as a Jamaican when I tell them I'll choose the cold over the heat anytime, but it is what it is.
It is
So,
what it is.
indeed. So Vijay, again, thanks for joining us. One of the things that we like to, and where we like to start with these conversations is to ask our guests, what it is that they do. How do they serve? How do you, Vijay, bring value to the lives of others?
A very nice question. And well, if I started young in my life, I always helped out. My parents, for example, started as a humble people. My father was a carpenter, a war veteran with only one leg, and he was still climbing 10-foot ladders up and down as a carpenter. My mom was cleaning offices, and I always was there, to help. On my school break, I decided to say, Mom, take a break. And I took the keys and went to the offices and cleaned offices. In the military, I was a squadron leader in the military police in Germany. And I always, my generals always, or the officers always said, you take on ABC, right? And ABC were always the guys who were falling a little behind or short. And I motivated them, I kept them going, and everybody excelled. So it's somehow a tenure through my life. And now as a business coach, and I help entrepreneurs, managers, even CEO levels that find sanity in their insane life, and give them tokens and golden nuggets, where we figure out how not to wear too many hats, but still be productive. So that's what I do.
Indeed. So it seems like this, the DNA, the gene of serving and helping others has been embedded in you from a very early age. Um, so Vijay, if someone wanted to find you, coach, an entrepreneur, a CEO, an entrepreneur who needs to juggle their hats a little better, let's say, how would they find you?
Well, the easiest part to find me would be possible LinkedIn, which my first name, Volker, Volker, hyphen, last name Jaeckel, Jaeckel. That's where they find me. Then I have a website, which is called VJ, the two initials, vj.focalpointcoaching.com.
So vj.focalpointcoaching.com.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Thank you for that. So if you feel like you need help focusing because you're wearing that many hats, make sure you check out Coach VJ. So Coach VJ, really curious to know, all of our guests, we ask them to share a keep on, because we know you have many, keep on pushing stories, a time when you had to push past obstacles, step out of your comfort zone in order to achieve. So please do share with us.
Yeah, it's a story every time when I bring it up and when somebody asks me about, how to overcome obstacles or tragedies, maybe even, I have to talk about it. And I want to share with you 22 years ago, exactly almost to the day, my 4 months old baby boy, Nicholas, passed away 10 days before Christmas. And I was at this point in car sales in Michigan, was just preparing my day, and then got the terrible news. Hospital and police called me that a tragedy had happened and he passed away on sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. Whew. So talking about it is always a little bit difficult, but this is where a lot of people, and that's what I learned, also a lot of family people who had this tragedy happening to them somehow shut off their valves, and they said, I cannot live any longer, I cannot do this any longer, etc., etc. And considering that I was just 1.5 year in the United States, I came as a mid-30s into the United States, immigrated here, and wanted to make a career and had big ambitions and big ideas. With this tragedy, normally people would say, okay, I grab the bottle and be drunk every day, or just go back to Germany to forget America. But since this happened, and when people see me, they always say, well, I cannot believe that you went through this tragedy, because I'm always upbeat and I'm always see the positivity out of it. And right now, as we speak, on my left shoulder, you cannot see it, is my little son sitting and pushing me and whispering in my ears. And this is since the last 22 years the case, because since ever that happened, I said, I cannot give up on my dreams. I cannot give up on my family at this time. And I have to be the stronghold, the rock in the ocean to break the waves. And I became very focused. I said, there was a reason that he was there, because he wanted me to succeed. He wanted me to push. And that's how I created myself and the tenacity that I never give up. And I learned that also in a history lesson through Winston Churchill, who always, was known for the quote, never, never, never give up. And this is my mantra. And I think, based on the tragedy and seeing that a lot of things bad like these happen, all the little things what happen through business life or in daily life, and you get an invoice, or the IRS wants some extra taxes, or you had a little car accident, a fender bender, it's all very minimal compared to what you just overcame. And that's what I'm trying to convey also to people. The little things we are sometimes get fed up on and hone in on, they are not so crucial. They are just noise. And that's what I would like to learn everybody, to filter out noise. And that's what keeps me going.
Mm. Just in the last 2 weeks, I have two sons, and my older is 35 years old, and I had this dream that he died in a car crash. He was speeding, and VJ, in my dream, I was bawling. I was
Yes.
bawling, and I woke up with a sensation in my body. And of course, I know parents who have lost a child, and just imagine that it has to be the absolutely worst feeling ever. So when you got that tragic news, and you got that hit in your body, try to explain to us what that felt like, and the process, if there was one, if you can think of one that you used to begin to crawl out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, the process, I don't know, it's possible a process, and you're still going through the grieving process over decades, right? It will never stop. And every time when Christmas time comes, you will have it as a shadow over your Christmas festivity, thinking that
Mm.
this tragedy happened just short before Christmas Eve. So what happened is, when you get the news, you literally feel somebody kick you in the stomach. you're nauseous, you're numb, you're pain. You don't find tears any longer to cry, because the first 1-2 days after it happened were, I can only recall a little bit. It's almost like the body shuts down at this moment, and your brain says, "Okay, it's bad. You have this memory, you have this, but I will take it away. I store it away in a far storage area. You maybe never find the box again, even though it's there." So the first couple of days were bad. The third day, I was at ease, knowing that the funeral came up. I was actually very, not upbeat, that's the wrong word, but I was relieved that almost is now over, right? And then the funeral hit, and again, you get one time more swapped away by a wave of grief and sorrow. So after 3-4 days at home, then with my then wife, now ex-wife, but nevertheless, I decided after 3-4 days after we had buried him, that I said, I will go back to work on Monday. And she said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yes," because I feel like he said I need to go back to life and living life, and cannot be sorry about everything, because it was not our fault. It's Sid's. And I decided to come back to work, and everybody was saying the same. "Why are you here?" And I said, "I need to sell cars. I want to be successful." And ever since then, that happened to my son. I had even bigger dreams. Suddenly I got night dreams, not nightmares, night dreams, where I said, wow, I dreamed I was on the cover of a magazine. I dreamed I was speaking in front of thousands of people. I dreamed I was writing a book. And everybody who I told this, they said, "Now you're getting a little bit cuckoo. Now you're getting crazy." And I
Yeah.
said, "No." And everybody says, "How do you want that?" I said, "I don't know. It was planted in my brain, and I had always these vivid dreams." And guess what? Everything what I dreamed and wanted to do, and everybody who told me it's not possible, you don't have an American US degree, you're an immigrant, nobody wants to listen to your accent, etc. Everything what I said I will do, I did. In 2009, I became one of the top 10 e-commerce directors in the United States for the automotive industry, was featured on the cover of a magazine, was the centerfold of the magazine, was invited to write articles about digital marketing, because that was my forte. I focused on digital marketing. Then after the cover happened, and Headhunter called me and said, "We have a technology company in Seattle, Cobalt was the name. They want to speak to you." And I said, "What do they want?" They said, "They want to hire you as a digital marketing ambassador, speaking in front of people, talking about digital marketing." So I traveled the nation then. I took the job. Traveled the nation, was over 200,000 miles a year flying around in America, speaking to Cadillac, Ford, Nissan, and other big companies about the gospel of digital marketing, because it was still early new between 2006, 7, 8, 9. It was all early. And I was always a very early adopter. And then I said, damn, sorry, but so many people like what I do. I'm writing a book about it. And in 2014, my first book, The Digital Dealership, about digital marketing, a roadmap for the automotive industry and retail, was released. And I was one of the first authors on this topic. So everything what I accomplished was, I think, based on this tragedy, comes back to it. And I'm really thinking that it's Nicholas who pushed me and put these seeds in my brain as a dream. And now I did the next step. I finally opened up my own consultancy, even so I'm still in CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for automotive. But I help now also smaller businesses and students to help with communication and disc profiling, etc.
So, we often talk about resilience and how, we'll be dealt some significant blows in our lives, and you have to bounce back. But I often talk about the fact that it's not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. It's about seeing the obstacles not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones, opportunities for you to learn and grow. And as I'm listening to your story, it seems to me that, as tragic as I can't even imagine losing a child was, that you absorb that shock, that pain, that gut punch, as it were, but then decided to climb out of that. Is that I want to say the biggest lesson is, I mean, talk to me about not just deciding that you're going to succeed, not just deciding to go back to work, although people thought you shouldn't, that the things that you wanted to achieve may be too difficult because you are an immigrant, you have an accent. We all have accents, by the way. That's another conversation. But yeah, just talk to me about how you decided to, and the mindset you had in trying to navigate that.
Right. Yeah, a very good question. And also, I'm a friend of following. I believe strongly when you have shortcomings in your persona, in your stature, in your life, in your education, it could be automatically also your strength. Because the shortcomings make you search a little bit more harder, a little bit more deeper in your brain what you could actually do with it. Think about it. I came exactly 2 months before September 11, 2001 to the United States. September 11 attack occurred. I had to fly back for my final interview for visa in Frankfurt. I was with 4 people in a big plane of 300 seating, and I came back, had the green card, visa, etc. And I was allowed to stay in America. And the only thing, I recalled all my English from high school times, number one, and I was 37 at this time, right? So I had to, that was one of my downfalls. I still make some mistakes in grammar and all the stuff, but that's so be it, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my shortcoming, what others saw as a shortcoming, was my accent. And I said, no, it's my strength. And everybody said, how so? And I said, I show you. I took my phone and I called a dealership up in Michigan, where I lived first. And I said, his name was Mr. Williams Outer World. And he had 6 different branches. And 3 of them was Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW.
Mm-hmm.
So I called him up and I said, hey, Mr. Williams, my name is Volker Jaeckel. You don't know me yet, but I think it makes sense to have a German guy with a German accent selling your German cars.
German cars.
And he was laughing like you do. And he said, did you ever sell cars? And I said, no, but I tell you, I will be the best. So he took a leap of faith and hired me. I was in the middle of the showroom, and all the senior salespeople who were there for a long time selling told me, hey, we are betting on you that you're not lasting 4 weeks. That's how cruel it was.
Right.
And I said, really? I said, what's the bet? He said, you can bet in too, $40. Okay, so I took $40, put it also in the pot that I will last longer than 4 weeks in the dealership world. Well, after 8 months, I was top 20 from BMW from New York to Wisconsin in rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And I won the money, of course, the pot. And so that's what I'm saying, when you look into your shortcomings and you think it's a shortcoming, oh, nobody wants to listen to me, you have an accent. I always said that is my strength. And I urge everybody who feels like, I don't have this education. I don't have a university degree in marketing. I'm a CMO of a 9-car dealer group in Southern California, making more than a brain surgeon currently. Mm-hmm. So not to be bragging, but that's what it is. When you know what you want to do and you push for it, you can do it. You just have to work and search for yourself where your strengths will be. And that's what I created. Same in school. When I was 18 years old in high school, I was always around about 5'11", 6 in this range. And I never knew that I was really good in track and field because I tried it out and everyone said, when did you start that? And I said, I never did it. I always played soccer or football.
Exactly.
And they said, my God, you are talented. Guess what? I was only 6 foot tall, right? Or the 5'11". And I was school champion in high jump. I had guys who were 6'4". I overjumped them. So everything where you think, I don't even want to give it a try, stop. Try it and do it. That's it. Do it.
Yeah, yeah. Your shortcomings could become your advantage. As I tell
Yes.
people, don't argue for your limitations, man. You know, push past them. VJ, wow, what a really enlightening conversation we're having. Are there any other lessons that you'd like to leave us with?
Other lessons. Yeah, sometimes it comes back to limitations, because the lessons are sometimes people say you're too old, or you're not young enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's call it, it's all BS. Sorry but it's BS.
Yep.
Because when you consider that I had a good life in Germany, and I decided as a mid-30th to sell everything and start new in America, because I had as a kid always an idea one day I will live in America.
Mm-hmm.
So early on I had always this dream, and I had the opportunity now to go to America. I did, and made this career. So do not take ask not too many people. That would be my advice. Just do your thing. When you are convinced that you are possible to do it and want to do it, don't ask. Just do it. Because a lot of people, they don't have nothing in the stake. They just want to blubber. And it's the same when somebody wants to buy a car. You can ask right now 5 friends of yours and say, hey, I'm thinking about to buy a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Oh, I would not do that. I would buy a Lexus. The other one would say, why don't you go Tesla? The other would say, hey, you have the money to take a Rolls Royce. You have 5 different opinions. And who is actually the loser at this point? You, because now you're really scrambled. So think about yourself. It's your life. You take by the horn. That's always what I say. Take the bull by the horns and run with him.
Indeed. Just do it, as they say.
Do it. It's not
I
easy.
like to say, you keep on pushing.
Keep on pushing. That's right.
Coach VJ, this is, as I said earlier, enlightening. Your life, your story that you just shared with us, I think epitomizes absolutely the keep on pushing philosophy. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with us and sharing.
No, it was a pleasure, and it was so great to see you, and I know what you accomplished. So kudos to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Guys, if you enjoyed this, if you found it valuable, please share it with someone else. I think that they could benefit, or if you think they could benefit. And don't forget to drop us a like. And stay tuned for the next episode of an amazing, true, inspiring story of persistence, determination, overcoming. Until then, keep on pushing.